Hello again, dear fellow YouTubers, and welcome back to my channel. I continue my series of brief video lessons on the extinct hominids, who, according to the mainstream secular scientists, are our ancestors or relatives. Homo erectus, as far as its height was concerned, was comparable to the modern humans. Indeed, its average height, at least those of Homo erectus males, was some 1.79 meters or 5 feet 10 and a half inches, which even today globally is actually above the average height of adult males. Its face, however, was still more monkey-like than human-like. Homo erectus was also famous for its lean body build. So Homo erectus was, to sum it up, clearly taller and slimmer than the earlier discovered human species, or human species, or hominid species, who are thought to have lived before it. And compared to them, it was able to walk more upright and straighten its back, more especially compared to Australopithecus. According to the mainstream secular science, its earliest fossil evidence dates to 1.8 million years ago, discovered in 1991 in Dmanisi, Georgia. Georgia is, if we're talking of the independent country named Georgia, is a small country in the Caucasus region, which is one of the conventional geographic boundaries between Asia and Europe, located on the shore of the eastern shore of the Black Sea. Homo erectus eventually became extinct throughout its range in Africa, Europe, and Asia, but developed into derived species, notably Homo heidelbergensis. The Dutch anatomist Eugène Dubois, inspired by Darwin's theory of evolution as applied to humanity, set out in 1886 for Asia, despite Darwin's theory of African origin, to find a human ancestor. In 1891 to 92, his team discovered first a tooth, then a skull cap, and finally a femur of a human fossil on the island of Java, Dutch East Indies, now a part of Indonesia. Excavated from the bank of the Solo River at Trinil, East Java, he first in 1893 allocated the material to a genus of fossil chimpanzees as Anthropopithecus erectus. Then the following year assigned his species to a new genus as Pithecanthropus erectus. The genus name had been coined by Ernst Haeckel in 1868 for the hypothetical link between humans and fossil apes, from the Greek pithekos, or ape, and anthropos, or human, or pithekos and anthropos, based on the proposal that the femur suggested that the creature had been bipedal like Homo sapiens. Nearly all of the original specimens were lost during the Second World War. However, authentic casts were made by Weidenreich, or Franz Weidenreich, probably a German anthropologist, and they exist at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City and at the Institute of Vertebrate Paleontology and Paleoanthropology in Beijing, China, and are considered to be reliable evidence. Similarities between the Java man and the Peking man, or Beijing man as we would now say, led Ernst Mayr to rename both Homo erectus in 1950. Throughout much of the 20th century, anthropologists debated the role of Homo erectus in human evolution. Early in the century, due in part to the discoveries at Java and Zhukudian. The belief that modern humans first evolved in Asia was widely accepted. A few naturalists, such as Charles Darwin, theorized that humans' earliest ancestors were African. Darwin pointed out that chimpanzees and gorillas, humans' closest relatives, evolved and exist only in Africa. Yeah, not only were these early hominids notably tall, over a foot taller than, or even well over a foot taller than the Homo habilis, Australopithecus, and Homo naledi, or actually, well, in terms of Homo naledi, less than a foot taller, but several inches taller. But they were, and not only were they very thin or slender, but they also had long arms and legs. Throwing performance may have been an important mode for early hunting and defense in the genus Homo. Throwing performance in the genus has previously been linked to several anatomical shifts in the upper body during the evolution of Homo. However, it has been discovered that a commonly used metric for clavicle length, the claviculo-humeral ratio, does not predict shoulder position on the torso accurately. This new evidence supports the conclusion that Homo erectus fossil clavicles are similar to modern human variations, with Homo erectus having a shoulder construction that was lateral facing. The Homo erectus males, according to the existing fossils, were some 25% larger than the Homo erectus females, so there was notable sexual dimorphism, and slightly greater than seen in the later Homo sapiens, however less than that of the earlier genus Australopithecus. Regarding the evolution of human physiology, the discovery of the skeleton of Turkana boy, Homo ergaster, near Lake Turkana in Kenya, East Africa, by Richard Leakey and Kamoya Kimeu in 1984, one of the most complete hominin skeletons ever discovered, has contributed greatly to the interpretation. Homo ergaster used more diverse and sophisticated stone tools than its predecessors, where early Homo erectus used comparatively primitive tools. This was probably because Homo ergaster inherited, used, and created tools first of Oldowan technology, and later advanced the technology to Acheulean. And according to fossil evidence or archaeological evidence, it seems that Homo erectus was able to control fire, make and control fire. There is very little evidence for religion among Homo erectus, but there is a possibility of their having had some primitive religious beliefs. Once again, according to the mainstream secular human scientists. Then again, due to the span of time, most religious artifacts would have been gone anyway, and seeing how their descendants, Homo naledi and Homo neanderthalis, Neanderthalensis/sapiens, have religious or pre-religious behavior, it is probable that this species had it. Homo erectus was probably the first hominin to live in a hunter-gatherer society, and anthropologists such as Richard Leakey believe that erectus was socially more like modern humans than the more Australopithecus-like species before it. Likewise, increased cranial or skull capacity generally coincides with the more sophisticated tools occasionally found with fossils. The lower cave of the Zhukudian Cave, China, is one of the most important archaeological sites worldwide. There have been remains of 45 Homo erectus individuals found and thousands of tools recovered. Most of these remains were lost during the Second World War, with the exception of 2 postcranial elements that were discovered in China in 1951 and 4 human teeth from Dragon Bone Hill. New evidence has shown that Homo erectus does not have uniquely thick vault bones like what was previously thought. Testing showed that neither Asian or African nor African Homo erectus had uniquely large vault bones.